point, but we played a little bit with this against Dingo. We played a little bit with this build without the Portents, and I think the Portents are good. I think the Thought-Knot Seers are like a little weird out of place in the list, and like the Portent, it just like cycles early, gives you more blue cards, wins the game late. Very weird card. It's a blue X spell, so you reveal cards from the top X cards of your library, and then for each card with a different type, you can put one of those into your hand. And if you exile 4 of those to put into your hand, you can cast 1 of them for free, and which is pretty game winning. And this deck has a big diversity of types. We've got Kindred, we've got creatures, we've got instants, we've got sorceries, we've got artifacts, we've got lands. And this card cycles early, and it also pitches to both. Okay, keeping this. Surely this deck wants Manamo over an island. Maybe. I have 4 islands, right? Or is it 3? I think I kind of want the 4th island, but since we have all these Lrien Revealeds, yeah, maybe there's a good chance that that's better. Won't be a huge difference either way. All right, let me get the Mox Field up to date real quick too. So I guess we're going to go Labyrinth turn 1. So if we draw another Labyrinth, we can Ring on turn 2. When we played this deck yesterday without the Portents, I was really missing them. The last match, we trophied with Wizards, then we lost to a pretty cool Landfall Brew, and decided to switch it up. I'm not gonna Lrien Reveal because I want to have the blue card for Force, of course. Sorry for rhyming. Although there's a blue card. Let's just Nulldrifter here. Still likely going to want to pitch the Lrien Revealed. Why Pyroclasm over some of the 3 CMC 3 damage sweepers. 2 mana against Boros matters a lot on the draw, I think. It's like a little bit before their Guide of Souls starts making their stuff, like 4 toughness. It also like doesn't kill like our Augur Bolas, doesn't kill Tamio. Neither kill Kitsa at least, but not killing Tamio is a big deal. Alright, there's a Scalding Tarn. Notably, they didn't fetch a basic Plains. Oh, because they're Storm and not Boros. I guess they are Boros, but they're Boros Storm. So kind of tricky when to use this Force of Negation, right? I think we probably need to try to get a little bit more value out of this. They lost the flip here. I'm gonna get a little greedy and let this resolve. They had a Ritual and another Ends resolve, so maybe this was too greedy. Could be good to hit this Pyretic Ritual now. I know it's situational. Generally, I try to save my Force passive Flames for Wish. Well, the logic doesn't really transfer when there's a Ral in play, I think. There's a Pass in Flames, there's a Rin's Resolve. So I guess we're maybe hoping to hit the Pass in Flames. They need 2 more instants or sorceries to want to flip the Ral. They had a Ritual and a Mire. So they're playing this Ritual. I think we're going to need to win some flips. So they lost this one, that's us winning this flip. And then we need them to have Pass in Flames, nothing else. And then also lose the flip. Interesting they're going for the Reckless Impulse over the Pass in Flames. They lost the flip again, which is good news for me. I could Force here, but then I guess I'm still losing pretty hard to the Pass in Flames next turn, so let's hope that this bricks. It bricked pretty hard, hit a Ruby Medallion and a Pass in Flames. So they have 2 cards unknown in their hand. Possible that they've fizzled here. So casting Pass in Flames just to try to flip Ral. And they lost the flip, so they don't get to flip the Ral. That's huge. I don't really see a lot of reason to counter this. They have it's turn 3, they have no more mana, they can't cast anything else. Seems just like we should let it go. Certainly kind of weird. And this is why Storm sucks. Well, to be fair, like they're playing around Force of Negation here maybe a little too much. But yeah, you're not wrong. Okay, let's slam a ring, I guess. And then if we can draw another Imprintable, there's a good chance we could cast something for free off of our Portent next turn. Or could maybe find another Force of Negation. Will Dash with the 5 months. Thank you, welcome back. Appreciate you. There's also a pretty good chance my opponent like can't even flashback this Past in Flames, and they're gonna just like Ruby land go. Yeah, I know forcing removes the Past in Flames from the graveyard, but they can't even flash it back profitably this turn. I think we just want to make them spend the mana. Like, it removes it from the graveyard, but it also removes it from my hand, right? So they play Arid Mesa. Was that from their hand? I think it was from exile. I can't really tell at this point. So this is from their hand. So they've played their land. I guess it's just going to be just correct for me to force the first ritual here. They've lost more flips than I've kind of ever seen out of their archetype. Okay, so that's one less ritual for the next Past in Flames, which they're going to lose both of these, so they would have to have a land or a ritual to cast one next turn. Kozilek's command, getting rid of Ral would be good. Another Force of Negation would be good. An Imprintable to just cast a Portent could be good. All right, this was on my list. I think I should probably scry. Oh, maybe I should exile. Yeah, maybe I should just exile their yard. All right, exile the Ral, exile a bunch of stuff from the yard. Let's do this. Past in Flames, ritual. Rinse Resolve. How did I decide on Breaker versus other Eldrazi options? So in this, it is a little bit complicated from deck to deck, and I'm glad to talk about it. Also, I guess I should have played Talisman first. I'm happy to talk about it though. In this deck, it's kind of easy. In this deck, we really want to play the ring to complement all of our counter magic, right? Or subtleties and forces. This needs to be a ring build. Not every Eldrazi deck does. This one does. And if you're a ring deck, you need to play some amount of life gain in these kind of decks. Like you are just not gonna it's not gonna be optimal unless you have some amount of life gain. So your options are Karn the Great Creator, which is kind of awkward to tap out for without Tron, worse without Tron mana. And your other option is Breaker of Creation as your life gain spell in your ring deck. Breaker of Creation is I think the better option, is awesome in this deck, super powerful, stabilizes really hard, is kind of just exactly where you want to be. Okay, so ticking down to 16. Drawing 3. Any imprintables? There's an imprintable. So yeah, I'm just going to go and imprint the Breaker so that we can Calamity for the most. And maybe hopefully can find another Force of Negation to put into our hand. You know, this is 6 looks. How long before a Persist Breaker deck? I've definitely built some. I don't know if I've actually played any. Okay, we did fail to find 3 different types, which is a problem. I guess I'm going to go land, instant creature. We got Subtlety up. Hoping to live. Maybe I should have just cast Breaker instead. Should have cast the Talisman last turn also. It is what it is. Would love for them to cast a Ral. Or are they going to wish for? Yeah, it is cool how many different ways you can build Eldrazi as an archetype. Is it not correct to force the Past in Flames instead of the ritual so there's no flashback? Well, in that situation, they just had another Past in Flames already in the yard. So because they already had another Past in Flames in the yard, I think it was better to force a ritual. But if there wasn't another Past in Flames in the yard, yes, absolutely better to counter the Past in Flames. All right. Well, Portent wasn't very good that game, but I'll take the W. So I'm going to cut the All Is Dusts for Chalices. And then I do think I'm gonna go down on Portents. I'm gonna play, I think, something close to this, like 1 Dismember, 2 Consign, 2 Subtlety, or Force. Although maybe Dismember is better than Subtlety. I want 1 Emrakul just so I have like the 9th imprintable for Labyrinth, and then Emrakul sometimes does just cheese the win. I would have countered the first ritual. How come you decided to let him go off? So, I mean, in that game, the problem with just forcing the first ritual is, like, we have nothing to, like, untap and punish our opponent with. So, if we force that first ritual, we are just super likely to lose the game when my opponent untaps. Like, with, like, just almost no plan. Yeah, they're just, like, okay, we're keeping a turn 2 ring. Like, yeah, there just, like, was not a plan to win that game if we just, like, force the first ritual. I think we needed at that point them to expend a density of critical spells for us to force a key piece and make them lose a bunch of rituals and stuff. What are the best sideboard cards in the meta against Storm besides Dran and Thrust in Peace? I mean, there's Damping Sphere, Deafening Silence. Mage Bane Lizard is okay. It's not super optimal. It's pretty beatable from them or by them. All right, well, I'm gonna play the ring. Yeah, Jailer's pretty good, although it doesn't stop Wish, right? It only stops like Past in Flames and the Exile stuff, which is good. It's good against them. Spell Snare is like an awesome card to be main decking a bunch of against Storm. Just counting the first spell is really the play against Storm. I agree. Although you do want to counter the rubies and the rows if you can. Okay, 3 rituals. Past in Flames. So they have Empty the Warrens. Maybe Wish. Do they have enough mana to Empty the Warrens and then also flashback Past in Flames, flashback Wish and play Geomancer's Gambit? I don't think they have enough. They should have definitely wished before Past in Flames. This was just missequencing, I think. I did board out my All Is Dust though, so I don't know how good I'm gonna be at beating a bunch of empty tokens, but if I find Breaker of Creation, I can maybe beat 16. Oh, they wish for Galvanic Relay? Okay. So this is a lot of rituals, but all coming next turn. Anyone see the better Benevolent Rumble? There's a worse Benevolent Rumble from the new set. Oh, another Past in Flames for another Galvanic Relay? If I find a Force of Negation and I Otawara the Ruby, and then I just force like a ritual, I kind of can't lose. Don't really think there's too many other scenarios where I win, so hopefully there's a Force of Negation in the top 3. Bricadelphia. Oh. That'll do, I guess. Looks like that'll do. That doesn't work. They can just use another ritual in response to. No, I bounce the ruby. They spend 2 mana to cast a ritual. I just force the ritual, then they don't have enough mana to do anything else. I think they could have won last turn though if they had cast Wish before Past in Flames if they're playing Geomancer's Gambit. But maybe I'm miscounting. Your turn. You got a lot of 2s over there. They can wish, or now that they can't now that they played Mountain, but they could wish for Static Prison, but then they couldn't do anything else. I do mean Alchemist Gambit. Did I say the Queen's Gambit? Sorry about that. I guess they could still do that now. Wow, turns out Galvanic Relay is garbage after all. Hate to see it. Hate to realize it. Wouldn't you hate to draw 21 cards and can't really do anything with them? All right, next turn they got an Arid Mesa, a Manamorphose, another Arid Mesa. Incoming concession, maybe? Not the easiest to see what's going on, but that's fine. I mean, I could cast Breaker, but seems like... Oh, I can't go Otawara and then also have Sync up. 3, 4, 5, 6... Oh, I couldn't even cast Breaker anyways. So I guess I should maybe just cast the Sync, right? Gonna be a tough one to lose. They got an Arid Mesa to play, and they can dump a Manamorphose in the graveyard, maybe. Also, flashback, Striker Rich. Poor Storm. Would you say winning the game next turn is less good than winning the game this turn? I would say that, yeah. Shout out Galvanic Relay. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so can just go Land Breaker if we don't draw something that seems better. Don't think we need to hold up the Kozilek's command that bad. All right, good start. Play. It's an interesting hand. I don't think I'm in the business of mulliganing this, I guess. Thinking about sequencing some. Could just lead on Temple. Maybe leading on Island is better for like deception purposes or whatever. What was the final standing for the Kitsa Wizard deck? Oh, sorry, this was wrong because now I can't go Labyrinth, Island, and have hardcast Subtlety up on turn 3. Guess I should have just led on Island. Storm is very, very fun, even if it is a little awkward. You polluted the format when you brewed Cascade Beans. Didn't forgive that? Yeah. It was quite the time, huh? Let's Subtlety this. I'm going to pitch the Sync, I think. The Sync, I think. I might end up hardcasting the Lrien Revealed if I draw a land. I'm pretty likely to. I did draw the land. I think I am going to Labyrinth this turn, though. This way, if my opponent has a Thoughtseize or a Grief, I can Island Cycle and not let them get any value off their discard. Just join Moxer shows are back on Vista. No IPU. I guess the Moxer might be out of date. We are on Rivulet in this build now. Let me make sure the list is right. It's like with the Talismans, you don't need like waste for Blood Moon very much. And you're pretty good at getting islands because you're a Lrien Revealed build, so it ends up not, you don't need to play Vista, so you get to play Rivulet. And also like drawing waste was pretty bad a lot of the time. And then we were trying 2 waste a little bit to like fetch against Blood Moon, but just playing the Talismans makes it to where you just don't need to worry so much. Yeah, this looks like the slightly out of date list. Updating now. All right, long DRC turn. Very classic. Pretty interesting to see like what they're doing. I don't know, just like Amped Raptor Rakdos maybe. Pretty interested to have top deck the One Ring here too. We played against any interesting Bloom cards. We played against, we lost to a green-black like Nightmare deck that's playing the new Landfall Pinger. alongside White of the Reliquary and Springheart and Intuko. It was cool. Okay, don't hate having Force of Negation for this turn. Yeah, Amteraktos. I've had Amteraktos built for a while. Maybe it'll be time to play something like this. I do think that the new Lizard is kind of cool too. These kind of aggressive black decks. Yeah, free starter with the Black Pinger is also pretty cool. A lot to do. Be fun. Play a Fable. Play a Blood Moon. I will also accept nothing, although nothing likely means Bowmaster. So down to 19. All right, I'll sink a Bowmaster if they have it. I think I'll sink. I think. Can Kozilek's command X=1 if I draw it. Any Portent's cast? We cast it one time. It would actually be probably a really good draw here. Love to find another All Is Dust also. Down to 14, then down to 12 after the ring. They flip over a Subtlety, which would have been kind of a nice draw, I guess. Plays a Bloodstained Mire. So I'm down to 12. Well, I hope they don't have two of them, but now that I drew the Subtlety, I'm going to go in and just try to Subtlety the Bowmaster. Could maybe have been better to evoke the Subtlety and then, like, do something else with my mana, but the Subtlety blocks pretty well here. So there's an All Is Dust for next turn. Do you have any Helga brews? Not yet. I will try to build around Helga soon. I do like Helga. I'd be interested to see this deck built as a Tron deck instead of Eldrazi with Portent to compare. Yeah, I think Eldrazi is probably going to be the better direction to go, but I agree there could be something to the idea of that kind of build. Okay, so let's block like this, which incentivizes my opponent to play the Bowmaster on their turn. Yeah, I mean, I would love to play Free Strider and the Lizard Pinger. I don't know that this would actually be a deck that makes a lot of sense, but I'll be working on it today, tomorrow, later this week too. My opponent's hand is Bowmaster, 2 mystery cards here. I'm kind of surprised they're this in the tank. We'll let them take their time. They do play the Bowmaster main phase, and then presumably this is what we wanted. We wanted them to kill this Subtlety, and so they play the Bowmaster into my All Is Dust, which frees up my ring. My life total ain't too high. I could be putting myself in a position where I'm just really cold to a Lightning Bolt, which could be a reason for me to play Portent of Calamity here over the All Is Dust. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so I would have 6 looks at a Breaker of Creation or another ring to try to stabilize. It does also feel like pretty likely that my opponent could have a bolt here. And to some extent, we came here to try to test this card. I think of a card, I think we're pretty likely to get to cast something for free when X=6. We need to maybe be a bit better about knowing the percentages, but I mean, good news, we can cast something. The bad news is we didn't hit a ring and didn't hit a breaker. So I guess we lose. Yeah, I guess we lose. Maybe leveled ourselves here. We were pretty dead to a bolt. Yeah, maybe leveled ourselves a bit too much there. Bringing in the extra All Is Dust. I think I'm cutting all the Force of Negations. I'm going to bring in the Dismembers. Maybe play 1 Force of Negation. Chalice on 1 also looks like it's probably really good against them. Gonna keep in all the Subtleties, although my blue card count is now kind of low. Need these Chalices. 15 blue cards is okay, I guess. Maybe I'll just play 3 All's Dust. Is a new Flood Maw as good as Reddit says? Is Into the Flood Maw as good as Reddit says? I'll reread this card, I guess. If that's the 4-mana creature... Okay, it's not. Into the Flood Maw. Instant, gift a tapped fish, return target creature opponent controls to its owner's hand. If the gift was promised, instead return target non-land permanent and opponent controls to its owner's hand. This is a card that people think could be playable in Modern. Seems very bad. I don't know exactly how good return target non-land permanent and opponent controls to its owner's hand for 1 blue mana would be, but it's definitely a lot worse when you also have to give your opponent a creature. Not a very good creature, but a creature still. But I think 1 mana instant return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, just period, would not be a super good Modern card. And this is significantly worse, so I don't know. If I had 1 more land, we're probably keeping. Let's go ahead and just send this one back. Okay, this hand is good enough to eat, good enough to keep. Chain of Vapor. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think Chain of Vapor would be a very good Modern card. Is good in Twiddle Storm? Sure. Yeah, not being able to unsummon your own stuff stinks. It is a card I didn't really think very much about, but it does seem fringe playable at best. Any 1-drops? No 1-drop is good news for me. There are Thoughtseize, Ragavan, DRC, Inquisition, Unholy Heat deck. I think we're just going to prioritize getting the Chalice down. Would be surprised if they were grief scamming, but they I guess they could just be normal scam. For some reason, I'm just feeling with the baubles. I'm thinking that they're like an Amped Raptor build, not a scam build. Do you think Narset Shells can be good with the gift that is give draws? There's definitely some synergy there for sure. I would say yes, there's some potential. Okay, so maybe they are scamming. But not going to be able to resolve a scam here unless they have a persist. Also, they probably don't have a Dothi Voidwalker in their hand. Oh, great sequencing. Let's just do this main phase. Not fall too far behind. Maybe they forgot about the Chalice for a second. They pitched a Trawler to their grief, so maybe they forgot about the Chalice, maybe they didn't. Hard to say. Definitely going to keep this Portent, though. Can, like, just ramp into it. Then, at the very least, have it be a big card draw spell. I don't think we're supposed to keep the Ugin's Lab, because if they... It's just a waste here, too, but if they have another grief and they grief this, it's kind of bad for me to have kept a land on top. 4 cards in their hand. So very interesting that they're like Rakdos Scam with DRC Bauble. It's also kind of nice that my opponent plays Blood Moon. It's like just not bad for me at all because I have double Talisman. Go blank. Okay. Modern Staple go blank. So it would be nice to get 3 cards off this. I would settle for 2 and be unhappy with only 1. Okay, looks like we got 2. I'm going to take these 2. Not the worst. It's nice that I can cast Nulldrifter. It's not that nice that I can't cast Breaker of Creation yet. I'd be very surprised if they weren't a Netherglyph deck. Yeah, I agree. I think that's maybe the second time ever I've seen anybody cast this card in Modern. In this deck, in this matchup, it's really just Mind Rot. Like I don't care about my graveyard at all. Is Mind Rot a good card in this matchup? It seems interesting at least. So this makes Breaker live top deck. Now everything is really live. Yeah, kind of like a mini Atraxa. Very weird card. Right, would expect them to put the Grief on the bottom here. They put it on top, so they're just keeping 4 mana, 3/2 menace. Trying to think like what I can draw. I guess maybe if I draw Kozilek's command, they can like Grief whatever I draw off that. But I've drawn Breaker of Creation, and you have lost. Shout out! I'm so happy I drew this Talisman before I drew the Breaker, and that the Void Walker is not casting the Breaker right now. I'm going to gain 7 life up to 21. I got Annihilator 2. You kept a Grief on top. I guess they can somehow kill the Breaker and then cast it off Voidwalker. We might lose. Yeah, good news. Our opponent missequenced earlier and can't cast the ring. Breaker's so good. Okay, I think I'm going to play the 4th All's Dust over the 3rd Chalice of the draw. Click Submit. Definitely want all my subtleties against, now that we know they're on Grief. Probably will not get to really figure out how their list is built, but would love to get a little bit more insight, see if they have anything juicy in there. We trophied with the Wizard deck. It was good. Okay, gonna mulligan this one on the draw. Opponent has kept 7. No lander on 5 cards. Well, this is a good 5-card hand, but it is it's a 5-card hand. This is, hopefully a turn 2 ring. Yeah, 5-1 overall. We ended up dropping 0-1 after round 1. DRC? Ragavan, okay. Your turn. Let's had some funny tanks this match. But we'll see how long it takes for my opponent to just attack with the Ragavan before doing anything else. There we go. Flips over a Talisman. Plays a Bloodstained Mire. Cracks a Bloodstained Mire. Gets a Swamp. And plays a turn 2 Blood Moon, so I am not going to be able to get this back for a while until I bounce the Moon, and I'm not going to be able to play Ring, but I'm happy enough with this, I guess. Hope they can't go land Hardcast Grief next turn. But yeah, I don't know. If they go Ragavan into Moon into Grief, we don't have like any almost any multi 5s that beat that start, so probably fine. Hits a Breaker of Creation, can't quite cast that one. What do you think about Vine Lasher plus Lookout? I mean, those 2 cards definitely have synergy. As far as like what an actual deck with those 2 cards together looks like, I'm not really sure. Well, I need this ring, so I have to draw land. Drew a Portent. Hopefully this is a draw 2. Here's a draw 2. We won't be able to cast the Kozilek's command until we get another Talisman or until we bounce the Moon with like a Sink. They're playing Mind Rot, we're playing Divination. Let's freaking go. Hopefully all of their cards in hand are 1-drops. They flip over a Subtlety, which they could cast if all of the cards in their hand are 1-drops. I guess you could also All's Dust here. Oh, I've got Divination, they've got Mind Rot. A little far away from being casted. Cast. Was part of the thought process of the deck that you could, in theory, use Kozilek's command to help set up Portent of Calamity? A little bit, yeah, for sure. I mean, just Kozilek's command is a big ramp spell. That's less like the stacking your deck with the Scry is less important than just making a bunch of spawns to like cast Portent for a lot. But yeah, Portent just cycles early, mid game, top deck, mid card advantage spell, late game win the game. It's just a pretty interesting card. Pitches to your 8-pitch cards too. Okay, they hit Subtlety again. This time they can afford to cast it. Yeah, soloed by Ragavan, just like the good old days. Ring. Ring or bust, really. Yeah, I don't think I'm casting this Nulldrifter into the Voidwalker. Let's just go to the next match. Yeah, we did 5-0 with Wizards. Sad to mulligan a hand with double Temple, but gotta send this one back. Alright, all lands into one land. I think I'm gonna go. Oh, wait, we're already on 5. I mean, this is not a very good 5. We have better 4s. Alright, I think this is a better 4. Can you build a turbo T-grid deck in Modern? I don't know that I've ever heard someone describe an archetype as turbo and have it, and I'm like really excited to be playing a turbo deck. I can't even remember what T-grid does. Oh, that's like the black one. The like I don't know. That card's really weird. It's 5 mana. I know it's like people only use the word turbo when they're like, let's build around this 5 mana 4/5, but you need to have other stuff going on. Yeah, I'm sure all turbo decks are very fun, but I agree. I'm just teasing. But probably not where you want to be. Interesting. Getting twiddled. Oh, they untapped my island. That was nice of them. Isn't Turbo an old name for cantrip-based decks? I thought that was Xerox. Okay, so they've cast this Hidden Strings, but they are... Oh, they're doing something. Okay, they have a Ring. Ring is really hard to beat. Out of Twiddle Storm, they just pop off so hard. But I think let's just go to game 2. Instead of sitting and watching them do their whole thing. Now, thankfully, since their build is like really centered on the ring, like Consign, like if you could stop them from resolving the ring, it's going to be very tough for them to win. Maybe that goes without saying. But I want these Emrakuls. Chalice in 1 also seems awesome. It's nice that Chalice in 1 and Consign isn't the biggest nombo because you can just replicate through the Chalice. Maybe we shouldn't play the Emrakuls, but they seem like they're probably pretty good if they resolve, but maybe that's not where we need to be. We'll play one less important one Emrakul. It's kind of what the 9th imprintable. Yeah, if you describe a deck as turbo, what does I guess it's just a ramp deck. All right, man. Yeah, you can maybe trim a breaker for the second Emrakul, but our like the stability to have like lands and spells has been difficult with this archetype lately. I'm gonna keep this hand. I'm gonna have to put back the force on this mulligan. Certainly not ideal. If we, I don't think I should be Kozilek's command for zeroing, but maybe I could do that or should do that. I think I'm just gonna rip a land. Now we do it. Tough. If I draw a land, I think I'm gonna slam Chalice on 1 instead of the Talisman. 1 card on top, 1 card on the bottom. Kind of a tap land. Rewarded for cycling the Kozilek's command, I guess. It doesn't seem very likely that our opponent will be able to cast a ring this turn, but I guess it is nice to have Consign up for a ring. Deserted Temple looking pretty good. Why do we keep a one-lander? We mulligan to 5. Mull to 4 game 1. Another Vizier. Didn't want to counter the Vizier ability. No, I'm going to try to counter the One Ring here. Okay, so now I think I'm going to imprint this Nulldrifter and then Talisman and then Chalice on 1. The next turn we can X equals 2, 3, 4, 5. X equals 4 if we don't draw a land. I have another Temple's looking so good. Hopefully they don't have another ring. I know when I when I play Twiddle, I sometimes have a hard time finding the first ring. Okay, things are looking up, up, up. Oh, I mean, keeping open blue with Chalice on 1 doesn't exactly make the most sense. I guess it could be Flusterstorm. Opponent's reading. Definitely want to be able to put a blue card into my hand here. Okay, so there's our blue card. Portent's so weird. It's just like very good late, pitches, cycles early. It's just kind of a reasonable top deck in these kind of games too. I'm having the hardest time evaluating it. They have like a Boseiju for the Chalice. They might have Boseiju here. At the very least, I guess they could map for Boseiju. They make blue at the Lotus Field. I don't think it's very good. I mean, it's definitely not very good, but it also is, I think, it just does so much. I don't know. It's very versatile. They grab an Otawara. So I'm going to Otawara my Chalice. Just like fine. I guess it's a lot more fine if I draw a blue card here. Not quite that lucky. Suppose we can play this Talisman though. Then hope that one piece of interaction gets them. Consign to counter Otawara Boseiju cycle trigger spicy. I don't believe that those are trigger abilities, are they? Can you consign Otawara? I would assume that this is an activated ability. Forces you to make some weird deck building choices. Yeah, it does do that. I do think it's a lot better than Typhoon for what it's worth. It's like more card advantage, cycles for 1 less mana, and like wins the game late, like instead of just being like a good play late. Okay, well then not Otawaring is fine. Let's just pass with mana up. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that they're just like content to do nothing here. Like, I would think that they would want to just Otawara and then hope that they top deck well, because they like them waiting doesn't make a lot of sense for me having this active ring. Okay, well I'm not gonna fight over this because they have the Otawara. Just let that go. I have yet to see the win con. Is it Nulldrifter? We have 4 Nulldrifter. We have 4 Breaker of Creation. We have I guess that's the win con. Or those are the win cons. Their build is just so in on like resolving the ring that me just having 2 counter spells for the ring up is gonna make it pretty hard to lose. I know when I was playing a lot of Twiddlestorm lists that were like just very all in on the ring, and like if ring resolves, it is like really ridiculously good. Now this is a triggered ability. This might be a good one to go after. But yeah, I think I still won't. I think I still won't. It's just I think what I want to fight over is the One Ring. Both Typhoon and Portent cycle for 2. Oh, sorry. Because it's been too long, but I was thinking Typhoon cycle for 3. Fair. And Typhoon Cycles for 2 at instant speed. It's at least like a cool and interesting enough card for me to be given a go to today. So they have Otawara, 4 mystery cards in their hand. They're going to play Pioneer, but Portent of Calamity and Twiddle Storm's got me feeling ways. Yeah, maybe better in that format. So they make red mana, so they're not all in on... They're not all in on Ring. They have through Underworld Breach in their deck. I could sink into the Stupor. I could also Kozilek's Command for a lot. So 3, 4, 5, 6. Probably just 6. To exile 4 cards, so I could exile Cantrip. Yeah, let's just... Maybe I should... I guess I should just spend mana on the Force of Negation here. This lets me have a sink into the Stupor up if I need it. And, like, I don't think I need to Kozilek's Command for, like, 3 more. Because they have Otawara, and then they have 3 other cards in their hand. One of them is just a silly expedition map. Maybe finds Deserted Temple number 3. Did not really feel like we were going to win this one. Stuck on that mold of 5. They get a Scalding Tarn. About this Deserted Temple in Modern. It's really cool. I have not played Deserted Temple Lotus myself. I was thinking I would be doing that with Free Starter Lookout, and like Temple also can commit crimes, which is like a land that you could find off Lookout, commit crimes with is nice, but it's really not been a super good environment to be playing Free Strider Lookout, unfortunately. Probably got to keep this Breaker of Creation. It's a lot of Breaker of Creations. Although I think I should just go Chalice on 1, Chalice on 1. Now I can even just let Breach resolve. I guess that's not super true, because they have the Echoing Truth to replay. So let's hope they don't have another Breach. And it's still Otawara. I mean, it's Otawara, Scalding Tarn, 3 mystery cards. Fight over the Oracle trigger, let them deck. Yeah, that's a line. All right, I thought we were gonna be dead. Not dead. Do I bring any lanterns for game 3? I do think I want the extra Emrakul over a Breaker of Creation. Lanterns are a bit awkward with my Chalice on 1 plan. Like, where's the other Emrakul? There it is. You have Kozilek's Command for Graveyard Hate. How do they win? Sometimes with Wish, sometimes with... I played Karn as like my win con in Lotus Twiddle Storm. I don't think that build is great, but sometimes it's that. Sometimes they main deck Oracle. Wish for Oracle also. I think Wish is probably the most common. I'm a 7-card keep. Didn't think we'd ever see the day. Snap keep. Let's see how much more tanking there's gonna be. More tanking, it seems. More tanking, it seems. Anybody got any fun Bloomborough brews? Thing to take a look at. Fetch a Surveil land in the turn. Probably not gonna consign. Graveyard's an island. Have you read The Hunger Games? I read them when I was in high school. There's like a new one or a prequel I didn't read. I don't know. They were fine. Definitely fine books. Not the most memorable. Canister made a pretty cool Amulet Lurmulus. Cool, excited to see that. Jack Unicorn, 18 months, trying to make Helga work. I definitely want to make Helga work too. I was trying to stay away from Omnath when I was thinking about building Helga. Ooh, a bird. Let's go. Strict Serenade. Haven't seen that card cast in Modern. I would definitely start with 4 Helga because like you want to back up if it dies, and they just pitch to Solitude and Subtlety. I'm definitely gonna start with 4. I think. Um, I'm surprised to see Port Mage in this build. Doesn't look like Port Mage is very good. Surprised to see only 1 Ephemerate. But yeah, we'll get around to something like this at some point. I would also just start with 4 Subtlety probably. I don't really like this Static Prison plus Wrath Disguise. I would just play more Wrath Disguise. Look at Helga New Bean Frog. Yeah, I wanna try to figure it out. We're just talking about that. I'm going to a big tournament at the weekend. How viable do you think main deck Harsh Mentors are to edge against Nadu? Are you playing Boros? The thing is, it's kind of weird, right? Where Nadu's gonna be the best deck. I think in these paper events, though, like you can't really expect it to be more like an SCG. It's probably not gonna be more than 20% of the field, just because people don't want to buy it and or have like sold out. So it's kind of tough to like be like playing a card that's like only good against 20% of your opponents, maybe a little bit more. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I think I would just probably not play Port Mage in these builds. I don't really understand the Mockingbirds here either. I guess they're good to cast with Helga. Kind of interesting. Is Hammer playable or not? Hammer's really, really bad. I would caution you against Hammer. Nice. So I don't know. I mean, like I've main decked Harsh Mentors and Boros for like the same reason, and I think when we did that, we played 1 league and we didn't play against Nadu at all, and we still 4-1'd. Opponent, please play some Magic with me. Go, bird token, go. If it's 20% Nadu, how much would be Yawgmoth? Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's some splash damage, but I don't know, it just seems a little off. Well, am I cooked? Maybe. Helga with Tolarian Terror sort of effects or Writhing Necromass sort of effects seems like a fun deck. Yeah, it's kind of weird to play a card like Helga in a deck that wants you to have like a million instants or sorceries in your yard. I do want to try to figure out the Writhing Necromass deck though. Definitely a lot to brew with in Bloomburrow. Excited that Wizards is looking good. Do you have any cards in mind that might be good with Helga? I mean, I think if you just have 4 Solitude, 4 Subtlety in your deck, you don't really need to have anything else that like is good with Helga. It would be nice if you had like more, but you probably don't need any more. It is cool with the Mockingbird though. I do think that that's a good idea. Not something that was really on my radar. Yeah, so like Writhing Necromass in combination with like Serum Powder sounds so fun, and also like very, very bad, but so fun. Lrien Revealed. Well, Helga only triggers on creature spells. It's not like Beanstalk. We're 5-1 overall with the Otters. Minter's good against the War and Soul Trader decks. That's true. Yeah, maybe it's fine. You're gonna be worse than the Energy Mirrors though, like a lot worse, which is a big problem. Well, I guess it's like okay against a Nightmare. Yeah, I'll try to have a Helga deck ready for tomorrow. Try to have a Vine Lasher deck ready for tomorrow. I'm also it wasn't in my YouTube video, but Arena of Glory plus the Badger does seem pretty fun too. All right, another Preordain. Take your time, opponent. We're chatting. Take your time. Take your time. Yeah, Basim Kitsa definitely seems like something I want to do too. A lot to do. I mean, they got 4 cards in there. Not really like the scariest turn ever. Don't think I'm island cycling here. Maybe island cycle would have been okay. Do you think I don't want to tap out of Consign here, since it seems like the most likely thing I need to worry about is another copy of the ring? Nice to pick up a Force, though. If your tournament is open decklist, also, your decision to main deck Harsh Minter is going to be a lot better. I'm going to replicate my Consign here in case they have like a Spell Pierce or something. You get to play Force or Ring with Force up. Not the best if they have that Spell Pierce, though. Sure. Getting to main deck Consign is pretty cool. Also, I am surprised that they're registering Strict Serenade. Artifact Creature or Planeswalker is just like such an odd card. Get to cast a Lrien Revealed next turn. Yeah, I don't know. Does anybody like really like Strict Serenade in their deck? Seems kind of fringe. Good in EDH, yeah. Every time I'll make a post about cards, like limited players, EDH players, standard players, will be like, this card is great in my format. So maybe I need to be, say, in Modern more often when I talk about card evaluations online. I'm gonna draw 3 cards for 5 mana. A pretty dang good deal. Oh, I guess I'll try to. They let it resolve. Get in for 2. Feeling pretty good about her spot. Remember, 30 minutes ago, I mulled to 5 in game 2 and thought I would be super cooked here. Could consign this, untap. I think the fact that I don't get the cycle probably means I just want to hold this up. When can you miss it? Why is Golos Bandit Commander? You're preaching to the choir. I've been asking that for a long time. Been sending a bunch of deranged emails inquiring. Have yet to hear anything. I'll let you know though. Okay, I attack for 2, and then I think I could play the Talismans, then Kozilek's command for 2 less. I guess that's okay. But we're looking for, you know, Emrakul, Portent. Good cards. I sometimes struggle to fill the air when we play against super slow combo opponents. Great. 2 and 1. Player 2. The last 2 were slow. Very slow. Okay, so we can go turn 1, Talisman, and also cycle Lrien Revealed to play Ring on turn 2. And we can do this with Force or Subtlety up, which is going to be a keep for me. Too bad we're not on the play. Arid Mesa Basic Plains for a Guide of Souls. I think we're going to go ahead and let the Guide of Souls stick around for now. Be nice to draw something else besides All Is Dust to imprint, I guess, because we're going to want to cast All Is Dust, but we'll not complain too much if we don't. So now maybe I will not island cycle because I'll want to keep my free cards in my hand with my ring. What do you think of Phoenix players in Pioneer playing 2 Prophetic's Idyllic Memory? I have no strong opinion. I have not played Pioneer in I think since like winter of last year. Just, can't really comment on formats you don't play. I think I'm going to subtlety this. I remember there was someone online that was being really mean to Doomwake about the Doomwake had built a deck with that was built around Prophet's Idyllic Memory, and there's someone online being way mean about it, I thought. Okay. They did put the Ajani back on top, so maybe we can force a Galvanic discharge that's trying to flip the Ajani. Fair. So if I draw something to imprint to this Ugin's Lab, then we have 6 mana, important X equals 5. I feel like you're way more likely to get something for free if it's X equals 6 instead, so we can maybe try to do something else. We might not have that much else to do. I'm going to go down to 18. Gotta tap the ring, I think. Okay. I guess I can work with this, because I can just set up for a bigger Portent next turn. Can also just exile Bowmaster, make 2 spawns. Until now, I thought you were playing actual Portent. Yeah, they didn't print Portent into Modern with Bloomburrow. Alright, 3 energy on this Aether Hub. They're probably going to jump something with the Guide of Souls. Oh. Yeah, let's let this happen. I think. You know what? It can happen, but let's exile it and make 2 spawns. I'm gonna believe in the ability for our Portent to stabilize us. Although we could also just put All Is Dust into our hand, cast All Is Dust. That might be better. We actually, I think we lost the game earlier because we had that decision point and just chose to not. We came here to test Portent. Good to cast it for so much too, right? We have 6, 7, 8, 9 mana, 10 if we draw an imprintable. If I draw Breaker of Creation or All Is Dust, I'll be disciplined, I think, and not cast this. But I think I'm gonna. Okay, that's an interesting one too. Alright, we came here to Portent. I'm gonna do it. Five, 6. This is X equals 8. Seems so hard to not cast a Breaker or an All Is Dust or a Ring here. I guess less likely for Ring now that I found another one here. And before Reprieve. Okay, so there's a Breaker of Creation. So we choose land, instant, sorcery, artifact, creature. Click done. And then cast the Breaker of Creation for free. Gain 7. Pass the turn. Can I help you?
Would you like more water?
No, I'm okay. Thank you. Though. I appreciate you. I'm fine.
Okay. Would you like a Lucy in your lap?
No, anything with that.
Would you like more otters?
We actually pivoted from otters to playing this card, which it always takes forever to resolve because our opponents they've just every time reads the card for the first time.
So would you like auditors instead?
Yeah, we need auditors instead of otters in this one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, This is pretty crazy. Like, not only was this, not only did this cast Breaker of Creation for us, but it also put 3 cards in our hand, 4 cards in our hand. All right, they got 2 in their hand over there. Would love to like force a Fable, but doesn't seem like a super losable game, I guess. My blue-red list is always in the league dumps. That's super fast, actually. All right, they pack it in. Going to game 2 against Mardu. I'm going to bring in the 4th All Is Dust. I'm going to cut all the Force of Negations because their deck is kind of built where we can beat Blood Moons often enough. And then I'm going to bring in the Chalices. I think this is going to be our list against them. Maybe I want these Dismembers. I don't know. It's pretty painful. I think we're just kind of trying to like sweep the board. Yeah, Hexproof doesn't have... It has Hexproof from each color. So the only way to like target to remove this card is like an Ulamog trigger, a Karn minus, Ballista Pings, Otawara channel. So, there's a few ways to target it, but it has hexproof from each color. Anything with a color. Card is just so good. It just hexproof, Annihilator 2, gain a lot of life. Not a lot to complain about. Kozilek's command setting up for a scry and ramping could make an Emrakul gameplay more viable. So like the problem like being I don't love being like all in on Kozilek's command first, where it's like the problem with like because like Kozilek's command is gonna be so good anytime you cast it already, and I like building the deck like this, the Portent is like you're just like less in on it. But if you are trying to hit Emrakul, then all of a sudden there's like a good bit more pressure on the command to perform, if that makes sense. So I think we subtlety this so we can catch up a little bit by commanding it and before they can gain any life. Not necessarily all in. Well, you are all in if you have Emrakul in your deck, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't have I guess you can still imprint Emrakul to Labyrinth or whatever, but it is awkward to have Emrakul in your deck if this is like really your plan. I didn't even bother reading the card before you cast it. Thank you. It is a weird one. It's super wordy. I don't know if there was a better way to word it. Probably not. Like they have to go to exile instead of your hand immediately. Wait, couldn't you have just gone reveal the top X cards of your library? You may cast one of them without paying its mana cost if you revealed 4 with different types. If not, put all of them into your hand, or sorry, not exactly worded like that. How did Thundertrap Trainer feel in Wizards? Great. The Trainer plus Flare was really good. Kitsa was like fine. Was not particularly impressive. Reveal top X. For each card type, you may put 1 into your hand. If you revealed 4 more cards with different card types, you may cast a card revealed without paying its mana cost. Would that have been better? I guess I could have killed this cat in response to the fetch. This is really bad. I guess the plan is to Kozilek's command into All Is Dust. If you sack a Mockingbird copy with Ritual, does it use the copy's creature's mana value? Yes, mana value is a copyable trait, just like Pack Rat. Yeah, I mean, I think this is the plan. Command into All Is Dust. I think I just need to keep that life total as high as I can. Nulldrifter seems okay. Could be a good follow-up. I'm gonna put on the bottom. Breaker might be better. A little bit hard to say at the moment. I'm planning to block the cat and then make 3 spawns in combat. Take 1 to the Ob. Or sorry, do I take 4? Take 4 to Ob and then 3 from a Johnny if they have no creatures, maybe a little bit more. So like, let's say maybe we take 8 damage. Maybe that's okay. Do you think it would be worse to play Blue-Red Wizards with Tune and Galvanic over Bolt and Preordain? I mean, I do think it would be worse. I think you really want to play Lightning Bolts, otherwise you have a hard time closing games. But you could build the deck that way. Okay, so they hit Orcish Bowmaster. So I guess I let this resolve and choose to exile a creature instead of drawing a card. Well, I guess I can still just draw a card. They'll get to ping something of mine though. Never mind. We don't need the card. Any updated Sorin Necrolist? I've been meaning to work on it for a long time. The problem is it's like they just did such a good job tuning the mono black Necrolists at the PT that I don't really feel a strong urge to, or maybe not. Maybe it's not that I don't have a strong urge. It's just that these lists were like hammered out by like some of the best players in the world, and I think the list, like the stock Necro list, are really, really good and tuned, and it's probably correct to not play a lot of Sorins. I guess it's the same amount of damage if they plussed, because it's 1 extra damage off the Ajani and then 1 extra damage when it dies, so it's also 2. So this is gonna hit me for 5 down to 6. 1 damage off the devil down to 7. 2 damage off of the pings down to 5. Okay. So now I have to play this untapped. If I don't draw another land, so I'll basically be at 1. Oh no, sorry, I miscounted somehow. 5, I'll be at 2. Okay. Being at 5 instead of 2 is a pretty good way to be. All is dust. So got 1 card left in their hand. Reveal top X cards of your library, then for each type, choose a card of that type from among the revealed cards. If 4 more cards were chosen this way, you may cast one of them at paying cost, then put the rest in your hand. Yeah, that's probably a bit cleaner. Anonymous Gifter gifting a sub to Treve and Antiquity. Thank you so much. Give me 1 second. I guess I'm playing this Sync as a land, with my hand being double Breaker of Creation. Obviously this Damping Sphere means I'm pretty far away from casting one, but also bouncing Guide of Souls doesn't seem very relevant. Yeah, the Damping Sphere is much worse against our list than like Tron. They put a Marsh Flats in the graveyard. Looking for Kozilek's command, although I've already used 2 of them. Portent would be a bit awkward into the Damping Sphere. Wouldn't even be able to cast something, although this will be fine. Alright, draw a land, play a land. Your turn. Likely going to lose this top deck war. Just our opponents are like the last 3 rounds. Just we're top decking opponent. Let's get going. Yeah, 2 cards in your hand. I'm at 4 life. Okay, Static Prison. Jump the Guide of Souls. I'm super F6'd. So we're going to get this back next turn. Not that that matters too much. Oh, funny, they were not able to haste the Ocelot Pride. That's probably what they were thinking about. They are going to get some extra tokens. We're not even going to get this back next turn. I think we have no outs. So Portent would be an out here, but because of the Damping Sphere, we can't X equals 4, then cast something for free, because the Damping Sphere stops us from being able to cast it. So let's just concede. and then go to game 3, where we'll be on the play with a sideboard plan that I'm happy with. Yeah, I guess they could have hasted because of Sphere. That's actually very cool. Okay, keep. Gonna play tapped Sink into the Stupor turn 1, and then probably Kozilek's Command on turn 2. So pray for double type cards. So you have to reveal 4 different cards. Revealing a double type doesn't actually count. Okay, so we're gonna print the Breaker, try to leave all his dust to cast, and then it's kind of weird between scrying, looking for land, and just making a spawn in these spots. I guess I could just maybe ignore the Guide of Souls. I'm just gonna main phase scry draw. I want to do this main phase because of Bowmaster. Had a second Wizard League go. We only played 1 match because I wanted to be able to get to this today. The matches were very long. And we lost to this landfall deck. So we went 5-1 overall, but the deck did feel very good. And the first Wizard League was really like the first time like Flayer of Denial felt like this just incredible control card, thanks to the new Otter of Bolas. So I'll Bowmaster, they'll ring. I'll Bowmaster, I'll ring. They'll Bowmaster, they'll. We'll continue to be dancing back and forth until the end of time, as all chatters can play about play patterns. Where did Nadu go? Yeah, there's kind of like this weird unspoken agreement almost, where people are just kind of over Nadu on Magic Online, and basically nobody plays it in leagues. People just play them in challenges for the most part, which is kind of nice. Okay, it was Flute instead, and we are in worse shape. That was a great Flute. We can get rid of that with Sink into a Stupor Odawara. Amtraptor with no energy. Some bricks here. They hit a Bowmaster, though. Certainly not a brick. This game has taken a poor turn for us. Play patterns, play patterns, play patterns. Guess I can fog with my rings until I get All's Dust ready. Wasn't it better to go for Chalice for 2 last turn, regardless of how the ring play turned out? No, I don't think so. It's like I don't think it was better to play Chalice on 2 in that spot. Like they would still get to respond with their 2 mana flash threat. And like if my opponent has Bowmasters, I kind of don't even care because I'm very close to all this dusting. Feels like a little hindsight biasy to feel like we should have chaliced on 2 there. There's just like not a lot of Disruptor Flutes in the format, and if they were on Bowmaster instead, this was better. Oh, sorry, this costs 7 mana. Sorry. So I guess I should have tapped my Eldrazi Temple to Island Cycle so I could have Hardcast Subtlety up. Little misstep there. Yeah, a lot of people only play 3 binding, which is always a little bit weird, but fine, I suppose. Yeah, I don't think it's reasonable really at all to make a play to just say Chalice on 2, unless Flute is really on your radar, and it just really isn't on mine so much. We are a land away from being able to All Is Dust. Kind of would like for them to play Ob, and then we draw land, or we can just discard both these rings. Well, it's a 3rd Bowmaster. Chalice on 2 is looking juicier with my opponent having triple Bowmaster Flute, though. Most of their good threats are 2-drops though, so blank a lot of their draws. Yeah, but it's just better to get the ring going in this slot. You know what I mean? Like it is. We also have 2 mana cards in our deck with the talismans, but it's just better to get the ring going. And like the way you like win this matchup a lot is you just slam the ring on turn 3. Then you make them commit the Bowmasters, then you just all is dust, which is exactly what we were set up to do. We would have even been able to all is dust that the next turn if we drew a double land, which we'd have 4 looks at. And if we missed for a turn, it was fine because we could just Ledger Roll Ring, hit another land drop, and then cast the All Is Dust the following turn. So about 3 life, which is not a great place to be against the Flage in the yard. They also can't bolt me, but if they have a 1-drop, they're kind of incentivized to play it into the Chalice, so they'll have that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, casting this, if this bricks, this may be the last Portent of Calamity I ever cast. Although it's pretty likely to brick since it's only X equals 4. I think that's a good stopping point. I think Portent is very, very cool. Super thought-provoking card. Probably not super optimal. Very hard card to evaluate. I think we'll stop at the clean 5 hours into the stream here. And then be back tomorrow morning. What is Caleb playing today? Caleb's playing Mono Red Painter. Everybody seen a